Hi everyone. Well, in that opportunity, we're going to give you some information that we're going to obtain from a very good resource. In this case, we're going to have an interview with the Dr. Luis Osorio, who is the principal from the agro industry department. For a start, thank you, Dr. Luis Osorio, for this opportunity, and I hope that all the questions can be answered after of that interview. So I don't know if you can say something before to start.
Well, it's a pleasure to be able to help you. I'll be at your service whenever you need. So you can start with your questions.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm so interested in that opportunity about the dairy industry. Actually, you know that the dairy industry has been increasing extremely, and I would like that if you can give you so many concepts about what is the milk.
Well, as most of us know, milk is a lacteal secretion, which is secreted by any mammalian granule. The milk in the global industry is practically free of colostrum, obtained from healthy cows, which have been pasteurized or ultra-pasteurized, shall contain no less than 8.25% milk solids, not fats, no less than 3.25% milk fats, and also milk needs to be homogenized.
Well, it has been so interesting, and I would like if you have any phrase in which you can describe what is the milk,
Personally, I like to call milk the second beverage of life,
why you name a milk like the second beverage of life.
because after the water it contains many nutritional components such as water, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and other minor biological components which are fundamental for a healthy growth.
Oh, that is so interesting. And I look for many sources that I can read. I have the opportunity of read that the milk contains important nutritional components, which are necessary for a healthy growth. That, like you said, but also I think that the milk can provide other components like energy. Can you tell me something about it?
Well, the energy in milk comes from its carbohydrate and fat content, with the exception of skim milk that has virtually no fat. The energy content of some milk varieties, even though food provides energy to the body in the form of calories, there are many components in food that provide nutritional benefits, but only the macronutrients like proteins, carbohydrates, and fats provide energy. And also it is present that milk is approximately 87% water, so it is a good source of water in the diet.
Oh, that is a thing that I didn't know. But there are other components that I have some question about it. For example, I read in some article from the Food and Agriculture Organization that the milk have other components like um, essential amino acids.
Well, there's also fatty acids that are considered essential that cannot be made by our bodies, and milk is a good source to provide it. These fatty acids are essential for the synthesis of hormones, such as prostaglandins, thromboxanes, and leukotrienes, that are involved in muscle contraction, blood clotting, and immune response.
Really, it has been a so interesting interview. You tell me that the milk is a mammalian secretion from the healthy cows. from the healthy cows and that is free from cholesterol. Also, you tell me that there are so many components that are so important for a healthy growth. But I want to note in the industry how has been the current status that has been released for any scientific or any other expert in this area.
Well, I know that from studies from Dr. Incapié show that the health concerns associated with fats are often linked to the chemical differences in the fatty acids. Saturated and unsaturated fats have been associated with high blood cholesterol and heart disease. However, the relationships are not simple. The length of the fatty acid chain and the source of the unsaturated bond, naturally occurring or man-made through processing, can greatly influence the health consequences of a specific fat in the human diet.
Oh, well, that is interesting. And I have other question for you. I read that the milk have a strong relation when you know that when everybody see a milk in any supermarket, you relation it with the proteins. What can you tell me about the main proteins that have the milk?
Well, besides of what I said before, the genetics and health status of an individual greatly influences the impact of consuming different types of fats. The subject of fats and health is complex and constantly being updated in the medical literature. Commonly, the milk is associated with proteins, and it is totally true. Studies from the Texas Tech University show that milk is approximately 3.3% protein and contains all of the essential amino acids. Proteins are the fundamental building blocks of our muscles, skin, hair, and cellular components. Proteins are needed to help muscles contract and relax, and help repair damaged tissues. They play a critical role in many body functions as enzymes.
Well, interesting because it's so important to drink milk for obtain proteins of this. And in order of that, we know that there's in the dairy industry there are many products like ice cream, cheese, yogurt, and other sub products from the milk. But also, I read from the from a Texas University report that we can obtain also some amino acid from the milk.
Well, those referred as to essential amino acids are leucine, isoleucine, valine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, histidine, threonine, methionine, and lysine. Proteins that contain all 9 essential amino acids are often called complete proteins, which means that consumers must drink milk in order to get all of the essential amino acids.
Wow, that is so interesting. And just for ending that interview, I would like to know about the dairy industry consideration that we need to have in the time that we are in any dairy plant. For example, we know that exists a lot of milk in this world, and not everyone is available for all consumption because we need to be sure that the milk is safe to drink and there are so many statements that are regulated from the Food and Agriculture Organization and they are so strong in that focus. And I would like to know if you can tell me something because you are the responsible from the dairy plant here in Zamorano and this institution is so recognized in all the country of Honduras. And I would like what are the parameters that you have when you have your own plant?
Well, In our plant, milk is not used immediately upon arrival, but it is preserved for several hours or even days until we use it. For this reason, it is very important to properly maintain the avoidance of some problems in the future. The main parameters to consider include the temperature and pollution. The milk is kept in optimum conditions at temperatures between 2 grades and 4 grades Celsius. If milk is delivered to these temperatures, it may be stored uh, for the treatment. If not, it will be cooled previously. Another important factor is the degree of microbial contamination. When it is higher, produce a lower in the ability of milk to be stored. Importantly, the psychotropic microorganisms, the heads of the deterioration of milk in cooling, it is considered that from 106 microorganisms per milliliter are more or less visible to an irreversible deterioration of milk signs. The presence of contaminants in milk is, in all cases, an element which decreases its quality.
So, um, I have a personal question. If you choose a country, what can you tell me which is the country who produce more milk in the world?
Definitely Australia. They produce about 206% of their need, so their production is mainly based on exports.
All right, but what is the, for example, I have a question. When you transportate that milk from Australia to another country, what are there exists any process that you need to follow before you exportate that product?
Well, you need to be really careful to maintain the cooling chain. For if you have a temperature disbalance, most of the milk will spoil. They need to cool it and to keep it cool until it arrives to most of their industries they export to.
All right, thank you very much. And yeah, and that is all. But I have the last question. If you know that the tendons of the milk in the last years have been increasing, but we have a little exception because the female production had been decreasing in comparison with the production of ice cream, cheese, and another subproduct from the milk. What can you tell me that could be the reason for that is happening?
The reason for this must definitely be increased value of the products. That's definitely what drives the people to create industries, to make more complicated products out of simple elements like fluid milk.
Well, it was thoroughly interesting, and I'm so grateful with you for that time that you spent with us. And I just wanted to tell you that this information will be shared with my partners and my colleagues. And thank you very much for this time again. And that has been all. Thank you.
Whenever you need.